Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to wait for some of you guys to tune in before I get started. TGIF. Hi, YouTube. Hi, Facebook. Hi, Instagram. Say hi in the comments as you enter. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time, definitely let us know that this is your first time so I can give you a shout out. Good morning, T Miles. Good morning, God Favor and Instagram. Good morning, Sandra from Facebook. Sandra says, "Good morning, my favorite lawyer in the world. I love you. I love you right back." Hi, Derek Hall. Hi, this is your first time. Definitely let me know where you are tuning in from. Good morning, Queen Eliga on Instagram. Miss Classy on Instagram from South Carolina. Your second time, yay. We didn't scare you off the first time. Awesome. Maze Money says, "Good morning from Jamaica, my all-time favorite place to go on vacation." Gabriel Anoha, good morning. This is your first time. Um, Good morning, Vicky here, braiding from Maryland. Good morning, Krishna from Poughkeepsie. Okay, guys, let me introduce myself and get right into it. My name is Aisha Chidolwe. I'm an immigration attorney. I represent clients in all 50 United States with their family immigration matter. Your location doesn't matter. I'll be happy to assist you if you have an immigration matter. Um, my phone number is 407-995-6567. You can also send us a WhatsApp message if you want us to call you back. 404-333-8751. Okay, so for those of you that boo for the boolas, hey, there's some names on Instagram that I'll never forget. And you're one of those. Good morning from Ohio. You look so bright and wonderful. Thank you so much. I feel wonderful and great and blessed to be alive. So yesterday, if you guys tuned in or you watched a replay, I talked about children being eligible to petition on their own without their parents for a green card if they had experienced extreme cruelty or abuse with their parents or their step parents. Today, I want to focus on parents and them being eligible to do this as well, when they have children that are over the age of 21. So let me start by saying that in all my cases, this is one of the most difficult for parents to acknowledge, or admit, that their child is terrible to them, and I can understand that because, I'm a mother myself. And for a lot of parents, them admitting or accepting that their child is terrible makes them feel bad because it means that they feel that they didn't do a good job, or it's because of them or choices that they made that made their child like that. But I would like to say that, in as much as, I and my husband, using myself as an example, I'm doing the best that I can, right, for my children. I don't know what tomorrow is going to be. Obviously, by God's grace, they'll be wonderful children. But you cannot blame yourself for the decisions that your children make. As adults, you can only do the best that you can. And a lot of times you're doing the best that you can as somebody who's undocumented. So, you're already in a bad situation. It's really difficult, to be, you know, as present or as good as you can be, I should say, if you don't have any status or anything else. And so, your child may have wanted things in their lives that they didn't get, and they blame you for that. And so that's a constant struggle. So now that I've gotten it out of the way, I just want to talk about parents filing. So unlike children and spouses, a parent is only eligible if their child is a US citizen and over the age of 21. So if your child is a green card holder, you're not eligible. If your child is under 21, you're not eligible for this. Okay. So abuse goes the same. The types of abuse that we see, guys, do not judge me because I know I have like one nail that is broken and I need to get my nails done. So don't judge me. But as I was saying, so the types of abuse we see with parents, from their children. I'm just sort of going to go some of the more popular ones, and if this is something that you experience, in your own personal life, definitely call us. We see a lot of financial abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse. I will say that fortunately, we don't see a lot of like sexual abuse. Like a child is not like raping their mother. I don't even think it's like humanly natural, but I'm just saying, like, we don't see a lot of that. And we also see abuse of the legal system. Brass and Laura, so girl, my nails look way worse than you. I'm out to get a mani pedi today. That is me. Like first thing tomorrow morning. Like this is what happens when you travel so much. Like I've been traveling so much. Like I literally don't have time for self care. Like this is the first weekend in January that I will be at home. So they'll get that. Um, and as I was saying, so let me just talk a little bit about some of this abuse and typically what the things that we're looking at. One of the biggest like ways in which children can abuse their parents psychologically is our children who use the mental state as a weapon to their parents. And what I mean by that is that, you will find some children who say, you know what, I just want to end my life. I just want to be done. I just want to kill myself. I'm just going to take this pills. You know what? Because I hate this family. I hate you. I hate you for putting us in this situation. I hate you for crossing the border, you know. And when a child does that, whether or not a child is saying that without seriousness, as a parent, that will always be on your mind, and that affects you psychologically because one, you're afraid of one reprimanding your child, one, going toe to toe with your child because God forbid, like your child is really that emotional and does it. And then sometimes they have attempted stuff like that. Those are things that can cause like a psychological effect on the parent where every day you're constantly thinking, is your child going to take their life? Other examples, you have children that are doing like drugs, skipping school, cursing you out. We've even had a very sad case where a child came with his friend to rob his mother. So things like that, those are things that can qualify you to self-petition by yourself. If you have a child that just, is like skipping school, getting suspended, getting expelled, and it continues over to when they're 21, they're like, I'm not going to go to school, I'm not going to do anything, or like, or a child that doesn't want to do anything with their life, they don't want to work, and they're like 25 years old living in their mother's house, and like you that you don't have papers, or you're their father's house, you guys that you don't have papers are the ones like basically taking care of their child. Those are also forms of financial abuse. Disrespect, just talking down, most of us, as parents know that your child can't just be talking to you anyhow. But if your child is talking to you anyhow and is really disrespectful and is strong or feels strong enough that they want to attack you or hit you and do those are things that you definitely want to evaluate. And the reason why I'm giving you guys examples is because a lot of times when I screen parents, and they're like, oh, yeah, my child is okay and everything like that. And when I start asking questions, all these horrible things start coming out. But it takes a long time, like I said in the beginning, because it's hard for us as parents to accept that our children are not doing what's right. And then also because as parents, we want to protect our children because that is our natural instinct from judgment of the world. One, and we want to make sure that whatever we say, it's not going to get our child into any trouble, or they're not going to be perceived a different way. So one thing to note is that if you qualify to self-petition, this is not going to affect your child. Your child is not going to be notified. They're not going to be sending your child anything to see your terrible child. The only people that are going to know about the petition are obviously your lawyer, or the immigration officer that is reviewing your case. So it does not affect your child in any way. So if that is something that's concerning to you, just know that your child is okay, and that possibly you getting your green card might actually help you build a better relationship with your child if that is something that has caused conflict. Some children will make fun of their parents, or call them illiterates, or say that they're not educated, or they don't speak English well. You're in America. How have you, or they would say, how have you been in America for 30 years? You don't have any papers. You can't speak English. You just really did not amount to anything. Like, I don't want to be like you, you know? So those are just some examples of things that will qualify you. Also, keep in mind, and I don't know if you guys know this, with parents, with children, and with spouses, even if you entered into America undocumented, meaning you entered without a visa, meaning you overstayed your time, meaning you crossed the border, you came by boat, or however you came, if you're eligible for VAWA, you can still get your green card. It's different from a marriage-based case where, you have to have entered properly, but even if you enter without inspection, you can. So I know that there are a lot of parents who they've been waiting for their children to turn 21, and their children turn 21, and they're just like, I'm not helping you, or they're very fearful of going back to finish the process in their home country. One of the things that you want to do is to get screened, and let's see if there's enough stuff going on with your child and some of the relationship that you've had with your child that will allow you to self-petition by yourself. So that's my spiel. I'm gonna scroll through and just try to answer some questions. You can type your questions for me in the comments so that I can answer them. Miss Classy from Jamaica, awesome. Good morning, Mimi Chi. Let's see. Uh, Boo for the Bula says, I have this 2 cents to share to everyone. I mean, all immigrants or anyone who wants to know. Please, no matter how difficult it is, always use a lawyer advocate if it's going to take you to borrow. Yeah, I agree with you, and I talked about this yesterday. Okay, he's not done with his comment. It says, it's worth it. American government preach equality. That's not the case in immigration law. It's going to take a lifetime to complete the payments. Do it, please. Just do it, basically is what he's saying. I definitely agree with him. I will tell you that, and I talked about this yesterday, there's a lot of actual inequality that, I personally see with the world of immigration, and, with different clients that I have, and certain treatments that are given to certain clients that are immigrants from certain countries versus other countries. And, I talk about this sometimes, and, I always use Nigeria and Ghana as my example, because those are the ones that are the most obvious. Like, I can tell you, like, if you're Nigerian or Ghanaian, you just have to always be prepared for a battle when you're dealing with immigration, because no matter how on point you have it, they come with a cloak of doubt. Like, they just believe that they're lying. And it's really frustrating because, I'm obviously Nigerian myself, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like, they're looking for reasons to deny people. Like, I remember I had a client, a Nigerian client, they had children, and everything was wonderful. I mean, they had been married for like 3 years, and all my other clients will typically get approved, like, on the spot, or like, say, okay, we're going to recommend you for approval, right? The supervisors just have to review it, and then we'll let you know. And usually by the time I get to the office, or like that week, we'll get the approval. And I remember them saying something about, if you're Nigerian, you would know that we tend to have a lot of names. Like, you can have like 2 middle names, or you could have like God knows how many names. And sometimes they might write your middle name as your first name, or your first name as your middle name. And, depending on what's on your passport or your birth attestation. But basically, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal, and I remember saying to the officer, honestly, this is really not a big deal. Like, I just, I'm not even speaking for my client, but as a Nigerian myself, I can tell you that my spouse actually has a similar whatever in his passport versus his US, like his birth certificate. And same thing with my brother, whether his names were switched around, or like one name that was listed there was not listed there, because sometimes our names are just simply too long. to list, and he was just like, yeah, yeah. But he needs to look into this and needs to look into the DHS manual. But that client didn't get approved till like 3 months later, which was ridiculous because I mean, he should have been approved. But I'm just using that as an example. To say that you definitely want to use a lawyer when you're submitting something like this, because I assume that for everybody, getting your green card is important, getting your citizenship is important. Getting a green card allows you to stay in the United States. It allows you to work legally. It allows you to provide for your family in America and outside of America. So for something as important as that, you should always consult with a lawyer. Yes, I know, like, I've had clients come to me, or potential clients say, like, during the consult, like, I've been to other lawyers and, I was just really terrified because of what they told me. And that sucks, like going to a lawyer and the lawyer is not compassionate, but does it happen? Yes. So one of the things that I recommend is, try to research your attorney, like, or somebody before you schedule a consult, just because there's so many people that do the same thing, but just find who you connect with, and then go with that person, instead of just saying, I'm just scared of lawyers, I just had a bad experience, so I'm never going to use a lawyer. So that's that. Somebody on YouTube says, hi, I applied for VAWA out in 2021. Since then, I don't have an answer about my case. On December 27th, I sent a letter asking about my receipt number. What can I do? It's almost 4 months and I don't have my receipt number. So you see, this is an example of where I'm talking about, like, you should be working with a lawyer, because if you're working with a lawyer, your lawyer should be advocating for you. If you apply for VAWA, the question is going to depend on whether or not you did it with an adjustment of status application, or not. If you did it with an adjustment of status application, you can confirm if they received it by one. I hope you actually tracked your package. You didn't just mail it out and didn't do a tracker. If you didn't do that, then you're literally SOL. Two, if you paid them personally, for my clients, I prefer to send checks through our trust account to USCIS. If a client has a money order, that's fine. We'll use a money order. But the reason why I prefer to send checks is because once, if let's say a client's receipt number is taking a long time, then I can just pull it up based on the check number just to see. And sometimes they're not doing it as often anymore, the check, because they're now doing the checks as ACH, but sometimes they will actually have the receipt number on the check. And we as attorneys, like with VAWA, we can actually reach out to the attorney hotline to ask them, well, where's the receipt, because this was delivered on XXX date. So 4 months is a long time to not have gotten your VAWA receipt. Now, if you applied for the I-360 standalone without an adjustment of status, we generally see that those receipts come a little bit later than, say, those who paid a filing fee. But 4 months, I would say, is still a long time. So you definitely want to see where that is. Mr. Tuss says, good morning, watching you silently. Awesome. Good morning, Cleopatra. Okay, is my mouse working? Let me scroll through and answer some questions. Derek says, I need to contact you about a filing issue. Absolutely. Call us 407-995-6567. Oz Guelverin on Instagram says, I overstay 65 days and my husband is a green card holder. Can I adjust my status still? Is there any exception? Unfortunately, you cannot adjust your status as an overstay with a green card holder spouse. There is no exception. Your husband is going to have to naturalize if he's not a citizen already. And if he is, if he's eligible for citizenship, then he can apply, or you have to wait for that. The other option you have is not an adjustment, but you can file the I-130, and then if that's approved, then you can then submit a hardship waiver based on the hardship that your husband will experience if you're not allowed to come back. If that is approved, then you can go back, do your interview in your home country, and then come back as a green card holder. So those will be the options that you have. Otherwise, the other option is if you are in an abusive marriage, and your husband is a green card holder, you're eligible for VAWA and to adjust while you're in the United States without ever having to leave the country. So that's also another avenue you can explore if you qualify. All right, let's see what else I have here. Ella Baby says, I have a question. Have you ever rejected a case because it's so bad and you feel it's dead on arrival? Yes. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I don't take every case, you know. Listen, I like to win cases. If I know I can't win your case and your case is not winnable, I ain't taking it. I don't take marriage sham cases. You know, if you come to me and tell me your marriage is a fraud, it ain't happening. It's not worth my license. It's not worth my livelihood. So yes, I reject cases all the time. If we have a shot at winning your case, we fight, you know, and do the best that we can. And that's why it's always good to, like I said, work with a lawyer the first time, because you know I know a lot of people, like people come to me when they have this really hairy noise or notice of intent to deny. They've basically like said all these things that are completely opposite of each other. There's no this, there's no that. They've done it, and sometimes it's just like, oh my God, how are we going to overcome this? So it just really depends, but it's, you know, case by case. Um, Okay, so Mari K on Instagram says, I'm just rephrasing what you typed here. I did an I-290B for a denied VAWA, and it's saying correspondence was received and USCIS is reviewing it for the past 2 months. What does that mean? It means exactly what it's saying, like they're reviewing your case. And sometimes online is just not updated. They just don't update it until something actually changes. But 290Bs can take anywhere from like 6 to 9 months for VAWA appeals for them to, you know, either consider the motion or, you know, change the decisions. So hello, category F2A. Can I submit an adjustment of the USCIS payment receipt number? I have no idea what you're asking me, but you can submit an adjustment of status if you're an overstay. If you're in F2A, F2A categories are for spouses and children of green card holders. So you can't if you are not in status. Eddie Sylvia said, if you file for adjustment of status and you haven't been called for interviews yet, but your marriage is 2 years already, how many years green card will you get? 10. You'll get a permanent green card. Um, okay, let's see. All right, let's see. If I file for VAWA and my husband decides to file for me now, what should I do? He didn't know I filed for VAWA. Call me for a consultation and we can talk about that. Let's see what else. Okay. I have a question. A friend of mine came to the US. She's been here for 5 months. She should leave from last week, Sunday, but she had COVID. She went back to the doctor today and she still has COVID. What can she do? Because it's almost 6 months now. She needs to file for an extension of her B1, B2 immediately. And she needs to make sure she files before the deadline on her I-94. She can do something we call pronountuck. If pronountuck is basically like saying that, can you please backdate it? Because I didn't know that I could file it, just to allow me to be eligible. Because technically, when you have a B2, you must file for an extension while you are still in status. And if you can't show that, then you can request pronountuck. So one of the things that she can do is she can submit all the evidence that she has COVID and that this is what her doctor says. The other thing, though, is that so even though she starts accruing unlawful presence from the time that her I-94 expires, she can still leave. You know, I mean, COVID doesn't last that long, so she can still leave and she'll be fine if she wanted to come back again. But if she overstays for more than 6 months, then she's going to be banned from coming to the US for 3 years. If she overstays for more than a year and she leaves, then she's going to be banned for 10 years. So right now, if it's literally just a couple of days and a couple of weeks, you should just just go back home and she'll be able to come back, because her filing an extension of her visa right now, honestly, like these visa extensions are taking like a year to get them. So by the time she gets them, if she's denied, a year has already passed. And so that means she's looking at a 10-year bar. Now she's stuck here with no status or anything else. So because it's still fresh, I definitely advise or recommend that she leaves. Okay. Mr. Tusk says, I have an AOS interview coming up next week. What advice can you give me? Oh my goodness, good luck to you. Advice I can give you is, well, one, make sure you dress nicely. Like I always say, go business casual, go like the way you want to look when you're going to meet your wife or your husband's parents for the first time. Unless you go crazy there, use ma'am, use sir. It's respect goes a long way when you're talking to the officer. Make sure you take originals of your birth certificate, your spouse's proof of U.S. citizenship, whether that be her birth certificate, passport, or naturalization certificate. If you didn't take your medical, make sure you bring your medical. Remember, right now with medicals, you need to be COVID vaccinated, or else you will not get your green card. What else can I tell you? And then as far as questions, you guys really need to know each other. So spend the next month learning and remembering everything that brought you guys together, how you guys met, how you knew he or she was the one, how you proposed, where do you guys live, what is your last 5 years of address history, um, you know, and just, know things about your house, know things about your spouse, their family, their children, siblings. This is Christmas just happened. So you might get questions like if they separate you, sometimes even if they don't separate you, because I had a client where they didn't separate and they actually asked them this question. Well, what did you guys do for Christmas? Where did you go? Did you guys buy any gifts? And all those things. So once you do all those things, just go. At the end of the day, these are human beings as well. Don't be nervous, and just do the best you can, and hopefully they can see that you guys have a great marriage. Okay. Good morning, Brandon. Happy Friday to you too. Okay. Let's see. Please, I gave my cousin 11-year green card. Is that normal? No, that's not normal. So that might be a typo, and you might need to contact USCIS. Usually the green cards are 10 years, and then, at 10-year expiration. Well, before they even get to the 10-year expiration, at the 5th year, you can file for naturalization to become a citizen. Is there any sort of delay with issuance and work permit for immigration? Absolutely. There is a massive, massive delay. Massive. Let me tell you, like, this is my biggest gripe right now with the current administration, because the whole excitement, the whole idea of giving people 2-year green card was to reduce the backlog and make things move quickly. We're seeing the worst delay with renewals. So like if you are renewing your green card, or your work permit is going to expire in the next 6 months, you need to be renewing it now, because we are seeing like 12 months, 13 months before you get like a new work permit. Also keep in mind that if you file for your renewal, your receipt will act as an additional 6-month extension for you. So, you definitely want to do that. But yeah, we're definitely seeing some massive delays there. Chan says, I must say thanks for your advice per our consultation. There has been some progress. Thanks much for your advice. Oh, you're welcome. I actually don't know who this is, but I am glad that it all worked out. You guys have different names here. And whenever I have consults and they're like, oh, I was the one who asked this question, I'm like, I have no idea, because nobody uses their real names on social media, apparently. Okay, let me see what other questions you guys have. So Precious says, how long will it take to get called for an interview if I file for citizenship with a pending VAWA petition? That's almost 2 years. You can't file for citizenship with a VAWA petition. Or do you have a green card? Do you have a conditional green card? Is that what you're talking about? And maybe you filed for removal of conditions based on abuse. Is that what you mean? But if you actually have a VAWA petition, you cannot file for citizenship because you're not a green card holder. So you wouldn't be eligible. Okay. Jennifer Dawson says, I spoke with a nonprofit organization that helps with domestic violence. They told me that I would need a police report to file for VAWA as emotional and mental abuse is much harder to prove. Is this true? It is absolutely not true. A police report is always helpful if you have one, but it is absolutely not true. And that actually pisses me off that somebody's saying that to you, that, you need that to get approved. First of all, USCIS understands that for a lot of people, when you're undocumented and you have a spouse threatening you and telling you the minute or the day that you call the cops, you will be deported. You will be going home that day. I'm going to tell them, about I'm going to tell them about your papers. They're going to believe me. A lot of people that are undocumented and don't have papers, they will deal with the abuse instead of calling the cops because of fear of deportation. As a matter of fact, I remember one of my clients who we actually got her VAWA approved, but do you know that that happened to her? She called the cops and she ended up getting arrested and she ended up getting being put in removal proceedings. And it was her spouse that was the abuser. So, but she wasn't believed. So yeah, a lot of people are not going to call. And, I would argue with any officer on any day that you cannot make that if the person has proof and can show emotional and psychological abuse. If you have emotional and psychological abuse, you should be seeing a therapist, right? If you have nothing else to show for as far as the abuse, go get an evaluation. Let a therapist evaluate you, and then you send that, as something to support you. Okay. Okay, Chan says we spoke on the 18th. My situation was the EAD renewal that was on file in 2020 and didn't receive it. You told me how to approach the lawyer that I have. Thanks much. Or you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Let's see. What else? So I am Hatgo says, please, do you have any advice for international students who want to stay in America legally? If you're already in America and you're in an F1 visa, honestly, like I can't stress this enough, just do a STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math program. If you do that, you have 3 opportunities for OPT and to get on H-1B. Most people do if you're in a STEM program. And then once you get on H-1B, hopefully they then petition for your green card. I know several people personally that's how they got their green card and citizenship. So that's one of the things that I recommend to you. There's also a program, and these are for people that are actually outside of the United States. This program happens yearly, and it's in New York. It's called Mountbatten, and that is for people who have a professional degree outside of the United States. So, like, if you're a lawyer outside of the United States, or a doctor outside of the United States, or like an MBA or something else, what they will do if you apply, it's very competitive, but if you're able to get the program, they will bring you here, on a work visa. And they will actually accommodate you, provide housing for you. You can't come with a spouse or a child. You have to be single though. And generally they will apply. They will then file for you for an H-1B. I know people personally in my own life that this program have worked for. So it's something that you can definitely look into if you're outside the country. And then if you're outside the country and you're trying to come to America, and you're young and you're okay with going to school, just apply for a school. Apply to college here. If you get into college and you can show that you can pay for college, you get an F1 visa. So Jennifer Dawson says, where can I schedule an appointment with you? All right, let me post my stuff here. Or how do I pin this? I don't even know how to pin this. Right here. Can you see that, Jennifer? So save this number right now, so that you can call us. Okay. All right, let me see what else I have. Yes, I'm Hatgo said, is it possible to get an H-1B while still utilizing your OPT? Yes. I don't handle student visas, but I know that the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, Goddess says, good morning. I submitted my AOS application last November. How long will I have to wait for EAD, SSN interview? And I applied for combo card. Can I travel on it without any problems? So for your first question is that it can take anywhere from, 6 months to 15 months. So it just depends on one, your field office, their business, and average time to be scheduled for an interview. As far as your work permit, it could take anywhere from 6 months to 12 months, again, depending on whoever's reviewing your case. If you do get approved for the EAD and the travel permit, if you're eligible to travel, meaning there are no other potential issues, sure, you could travel if you want, just don't travel a long time. And also make sure you keep a duplicate copy of everything just in case your stuff gets stolen. Boo for the Boolers has a good question. So when filing for VAWA and the police report was against the immigrant because the citizen lied when giving her side of the story, can that still be useful? It depends. The answer to that depends. So I have to read the police report to determine whether it's something that we should be submitting, and whether we are able to explain what happened and how that person turned, as a pattern of how that person turned it around and made it seem like they're the ones that did something when it's the other way around. So it would just really depend. Okay, Yolanda says, if I'm married and my husband has a 10-year green card, can he actually put in his papers for citizenship before I put in my paperwork for a green card if I'm overstayed? Yeah, if he qualifies. So he would need to, obviously, if you're married to him, then he's not eligible to put in his papers for at the 3-year mark. So he needs to wait till his 5 years. Well, 4 years and 9 months, and then he can file for his citizenship. And then once he files for his citizenship, you can either do one of two things: either put in your I-130 standalone, or you can wait till he gets his naturalization approved and then put your stuff in. Okay. Can you do school visa for someone? No, I don't. All right, let's see what other question. So my husband has a DUI. Will that affect us filing when we start filing? Palolo, the answer is going to be depend on who is the immigrant, you or your husband. If you answer that, then I'll be able to tell you. Okay. Superstar says, can a green card holder file for adjustment of status for a wife who has overstayed her B1? No, I talked about this earlier. The answer is no. They can file for her I-130, but not the adjustment of status unless they become citizens, or unless the person can self-petition because they qualify for VAWA. But I'm also going to save this video so you can watch it and see the answer in the beginning. Okay. I feel like I've answered all the questions. All right, guys. It was nice chatting with you guys. I hope you guys have a lovely weekend. And I will see you guys next week. I usually come on live between 9 to 10 a.m. Most weekdays, unless I'm like super busy or I have an interview that morning. Well, I'm super busy every day. Let me just rephrase that. But meaning, like, it depends on what time my meetings might start or if I'm in an interview. What else did I want to say? Also, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and then like my page on Facebook. I think we're so close. I think we have like maybe 300 more to get to 10,000. Share this video, guys. You can't be the only one getting good stuff. Like, share this with your friends, share with your family, let them follow me, tell them to follow me. You can actually hit invite friends, invite your friends to like my page. Let's do it together. Let's get to 10,000 together. All right, guys, I will talk to everybody next week. Have a good day. Bye.